Mark, what I told him, you're not only a great bowler, you're a great sponsor, and you support everything you've done here at the Part-Time Bowler Store since day one.
Absolutely.
And it's good to see you out competing again. I mean, Mark and I go way back. I mean, way back. And,
way back when.
Yeah, you've seen these things on Facebook. I'm that old. Well, yeah, we're that old.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so
and 4-0 Blues.
4-0 Blues. Go Blues. St. Louis all the way here. St. Louis's finest bowling and St. Louis's finest and most favorite sport team. So, Mark, great day.
I actually, obviously the last game didn't go my way, but I probably threw the ball better today for all day than I probably have in a long time. Even the tournament I won up here, the Senior Grand Prix, I don't think I threw the ball as good all day as I did today.
I mean, even in that last match, you kept yourself in the pocket all game and just a few extra carries, and you guys would have been right back in that match.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
The left lane was just a little more wet dry for me, and I just I had to try to go harder and straighter, and I got lined up right, and when I left the 6, I just didn't throw a good shot, and then I threw a good shot the next shot, and by then it was over, unfortunately.
Right.
Scott was bowling so good, so it happens.
Well, Scott, you've used choice almost all day. Was that correct?
Yeah, I've been using Ebonite exclusively for probably the past year and a half. I drilled up a choice. Gosh, it was end of last year in the summer. I don't remember, and I just fell in love with that ball. Shot 7 300s and 2 800s with it.
Wow.
And it's just been fantastic. I drilled a couple other Ebonite balls, and I have a Pearl choice, of course, and then I have a ball it's called the Impact, which I threw the first game on one lane, and then I never threw it the rest of the day. But it was that choice. It just keeps coming back to life. I tell you, I've been thinking 3 or 4 different times it's time to drill another one, and that ball just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, you're gonna get to the point where you gotta actually get a case and put them in reserve so that they don't discontinue it on you.
Well, yeah, you're right. This particular one, it's going in the mantle when it's done. So.
It's been a good ball, and I think that the matchup between you and Ebonite Equipment has been a good one since you came back and started getting competitive again.
Absolutely. The green ball, that Impact I was talking about, it's got the same cover stock on it that the Choice does, just has a different core. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't sure because it had a different core, but I like it because it rolls a little bit sooner than the Choice. So if the Choice doesn't quite have enough, then I can usually go to that green Impact, and it's perfect. And then I got the Pearl Choice, which is same core as the Choice, just got a pearl cover, and there's been times I can go to that. So I'm really happy with my arsenal right now.
Yeah.
I believe I told you after the Grand Prix that a couple of great choices helped you make quite an impact.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he
Larry,
sent me a picture.
It's been great having you, but we got to ask you to step away.
I've been hearing that for 45 years, so how do you
gosh.
think I feel?
Yeah, I resemble that remark.
Am I lying?
No.
Hey, Mark, I don't know if you caught a chance to see, but we have been playing the Mark Hood commercial today, and
yeah, I appreciate that.
I told him to hold off calling you in the game that you were bowling just because you were going for the finals, but make sure to give you a call afterwards. So,
as I've told a lot of these guys, I sell insurance for a living, been doing it for 8.5 years, but even I know a lot of people, they don't like to have pushy salesmen, which I'm not, but even if they just need help, if they just have a question, they don't understand something, just give me a call. I'm not going to pressure you. You can come in my office without your checkbook or your debit card. I'll be glad to help you. I'm to the point in my career. I'm not. It's not high pressure sales. So.
He's not pushy at all, except for me. He keeps asking my kids to have more children.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Looking out for the future.
I can tell you that the best recommendation I could give Mark is that I have all of my insurance through him, and all of my grandkids are covered through him. Yep. So.
Yep.
Give him a call and at least get a quote. You'd be surprised. I had been with State Farm for well over 25 years, and went through several rate increases because they're a nationwide company, or and they're affected by things more than a regional type company, and went to Mark and saved some money. So we can do the same thing for you.
Yeah, Shelter. I mean, a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with Shelter. Shelter's actually been around for I think it's 70 years now. It started out as MFA insurance, which a lot of people, older people like myself, have heard of. But it kind of squirreled off, and they've been going strong. I think we're approaching 20 states now. We're not going to get much bigger. They don't want to. That's just they don't want to be a state farm or anything like that.
So really, mostly in the heartland, aren't they?
Yeah, all the states except for Nevada, I believe, actually touch Missouri, or the state touches Missouri that it touches, something to that effect. So, yeah.
And an open for Gray early in the second frame, but Pierce goes right back and leaves a 6-8 on a great shot. So a little bit of an opening followed by a little bit of tragedy there on here, making things interesting early.
I mean, obviously, left side held up better than the right, but I mean, even going from one pair to the next, it can definitely be a big difference.
Well, Mark, tell me your opinion on
and
great
a spare.
incredible 6-8 cover by Scott Pierce. You've bowled on several of our events. Mm-hmm. You've bowled on the house shots. You've bowled on this today. And in your opinion, as far as the way the left side held up compared to a house shot, most of the guys I talked to today said they really didn't move much, even on the right side. And of course, in my opinion, the right gets so much more traffic, it's going to break down faster than the left. But what was your opinion of the challenge pattern and the way it held up compared to the regular house shot?
Well, I mean, compared to when I bowled here, in the Senior Grand Prix and crossed the house, I think, unbelievably, they actually didn't break down in the heads as much as they did that day. Now, obviously, that on a house shot, you can just move in a bunch and maybe wheel it. Here, you kind of had to stay in a general area and either take your hand out of the ball a little bit or throw it a little harder, that type of thing. And pretty much at the end of the day, that's what I was doing. I was just trying to throw the ball a little bit harder. The lanes were kind of getting more wet dry because they're probably getting a little carry down. And if you tried to stay in, you would just ping 7 pins all day or 10 pins for a righty. So you had to kind of stay left and just keep your zip up. And if you hit a lane that was really, really hooking, then just take your hand out of it a little more. That's just kind of what I did. And I mean, I had good luck. Body held up. That was the main thing.
Yeah, we saw a lot of bowlers early, especially early on. Who comes to mind immediately was the team of Adcock and Queen. Mm-hmm. They were in pocket basically all day. It was just a matter of were they going to carry, and I saw so many. I mean, I saw Adcock leave the whole back row when he was on the featured pair. And the thing that we were noticing a lot, especially when Ryan and I were on the call earlier today, was that the lefties had basically on the righties, the 18 to 25, there was kind of a hole blown from in the heads, and that's because that was the laydown point for the right-handers and the left-handers in the majority.
Yeah.
So we noticed that the right-handers were setting down on burn and then hitting the carry down.
Right.
So they were having trouble making that shape on the back end and getting the carry, like you said.
Right.
Scott got a nice carry there. He tripped the 7-pin late on a good pocket hit anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with your assessment. And that happens a lot. Happens a lot sometimes to the lefties, where the heads will go because that's your laydown area where the righties are hitting. That happens to me a lot when I used to go bowl the Nationals.
Right.
I would have that issue quite a bit actually,
but usually it seemed like the lefties were playing further right and the righties were, so instead of it being the the 10 to 15 area. It was a little bit shifted. So, yeah, it made things a little funky there. It seemed like every other game we'd have a transition where it went from people were going through the face to people were 2-8-10ing and 2-8ing a lot.
Well, there's there again, this was a challenge pattern, but there's a thing called a rule of 31.
Oh, yeah?
That I kind of, whenever I bowl on something that other than a house shot, and even on a house shot, sometimes it can come into play, but if you take the length of the pattern, which is 44, and you subtract 31 from it, which obviously in this case is 13, that's usually a good starting point. There again, now you can take a more hooking ball, play deeper. You can take a ball that doesn't hook as much and play a little, or in my case, I'm sorry, I get left-handed, a little left of there. So that's, in sports shots, that's what a lot of people go with. That's like the cheetah being real short. That's why you end up playing outside and playing right up the gutter.
Right.
Because subtract 31 from 33, you're playing 2.
Yep.
So I kind of had that in the back of my head when I started today, that I was going to be in that general area, and it pretty much held true.
Yeah, and that is a great little starter point for when you're starting to bowl on sport patterns, to kind of keep that in mind. It's not the absolute go-to, but it is a great point to start at and see where you go from there. And like you said, you can throw something a little bit more aggressive and make that change a little bit. Or, we saw a lot of bowlers with the heavy concentration of oil on the inside, and plus where that's the longest length is, throwing more aggressive equipment, not hooking it that much. Mike Stopoulos, for instance, on 17 and 18, I think his break point was probably around 12, 13, with a super aggressive ball shined up, so he wasn't really hooking it that much, just keeping it near the pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the obviously that lane looks like it's hooking more.
Yeah,
the
Pierce,
left lane a little bit. They have two.
Pierce with the same split there in the second frame. Let's see if Matson can also cover it up. I feel like they're going to be playing pretty close to the same line, because I feel like Matson's got a little bit more speed, but they're still going to be relatively close to each other, so they should be able to bank off of what each other did in practice. But Cummings and Pierce off to an early lead, and kind of have to have some strikes here for Gray and Matson coming up, because that leaves them 37 pens down. Actually, 47 pens down with the double.
Dave, I figured Dave was going to bowl a good game, because he started telling me about how he popped his knee in the fourth game and how bad a shape he was in and everything. So
so that's pretty much
I told him, just be quiet. I don't want to hear it.
So that's Cummings code for I'm coming for you.
Right, absolutely.
let the knee do the talking, huh?
Yeah. But he bowled a great game. I can't. He says he's hurting, which I believe it. His knee is swollen up. If you look at his knee, it's about twice the size of what it should be. But he's making it. It's amazing what adrenaline will do.
Right.
And that's like me. I'm feeling good right now, but probably about an hour after I get home, I'll wonder why I did this.
Right.
But I still love it. I took a few years off there where I really didn't get to bowl a whole lot of competitive stuff, so right now, thank God, I'm pretty fresh mentally and feel pretty good about the game. So
that's sometimes we all need that, to just kind of take a break, step back, and
absolutely.
Refresh, reboot, and come back and remember why we love the game again.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more.
Something that I noticed that Dave's doing, and he has been doing for the last couple of games, is he's actually getting the ball out on the lane quite a bit over the head, so he probably isn't getting that instant hook into trying to make it hook. It's actually reading. What's crazy is that it's reading the lane better, because it's going more on a fresher area rather than trying to spin up off his hand.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing too, because as much as he's lofting it, he is getting more skid.
Right.
If you kind of go in between there, and sometimes you'll get an early hook. That's what you'll hear people refer to hitting up on the ball. And but as much he's lofting it, close to the arrows, it looks like. So, yeah, he's eliminating the early part of the lane. So,
Right.
which probably on the right side at this point is a good strategy. So.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that not only have they been doing this for 8 games now, plus the 1 game of Stepladders into the second game, but I mean, those arrows are not close to the line. They're 15 feet out on the lane that he's having to put it out there. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a gentleman from around here, which I don't know how much he's still bowling. I think he's still bowling. His name was Johnny Lay. Johnny was a fantastic bowler. He won and I apologize to Johnny because I don't remember the name of it, but he won a big, like $250,000 amateur tournament at Samstown years ago. And Johnny was the best person I've ever seen at being able to loft the ball. He that was just his natural game, was lofting the ball to the arrows. And I mean, that's what got him to win that tournament. I mean, honestly, he was playing place on the lane where nobody else could play, and I mean, believe me, that was beyond sport conditions.
There were some players
back in that day. So on those lanes, that was 180 would win a game easily on that stuff.
Yeah. And and I may be mistaken on that, but I feel like that was the one that had the super match play or something like that, where everybody bracket style the whole time. And
there for a couple years, there was 3 or 4 in Vegas that were $250,000 tournaments.
Right.
I mean, and they had I don't remember the names of them. I bowled a couple of them. I actually roomed with Johnny on that one, so it was pretty cool.
So you got to hear it all day.
I made it to about the 4th round on that one, so I actually got a little bit of money, but
nice.
I got to go to the dinner at the end, which was really nice because he won and free, since I was his date, I guess. So
oh, nice. He was +1.
Watched him play blackjack, and terrorize the gal playing dealing to us. That was hilarious. He's something else. Johnny was always a lot of fun. Great bowler.
Man,
what do we got going here? We got a match?
Yeah. Cummings is 7 in a row right now. And looking pretty solid. And what caught me by surprise was that in practice, he actually pulled out what looked like a sanded Crux Prime.
Huh.
And so I kind of thought that maybe he was hitting a little bit more oil, but maybe he was just setting something up for later or just getting a look. But whatever he did, it's working for him and looking pretty good at this point.
Well, watching the lefties, it looks like the left lane is definitely hooking more than the right lane.
Right.
Especially Derek, watching him, he was struggling. I mean, he struggled to get the ball hook on 18 and hooking plenty on 17. And Scott, I know one of his strikes was light on 18, and he's went dead flush on 17. So.
And going into the 9th, it looks like we have a 66-pin lead for Cummings and Pierce. Which sounds like a lot, but with 2 people bowling, I mean there's a lot of pins to make up. But that strike for 8 in a row right there from Cummings makes it pretty much a match here. We'll see what happens. Great shot from Gray though. That's for 6 in a row.
He was bowled next to me all day, and we were absolutely amazed how far out he was playing all day. That was. We were like, we didn't know how he was doing it, so watching everybody else.
His game is very compact. It's very simple.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
Doesn't see any trouble.
Letting the ball do the work, it looks like.
He gets to the pocket.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
No extra wasted motion.
Just like me, right?
Yep. Machine.
I know. I hear you. No muscle in my game at all.
It's just. Derek and I were talking about it. I mean, like I said, last night at 10:30, Derek didn't have a partner, and neither did Wayne. And Wayne had actually given up because his partner had just gotten out of the hospital, and he had tried and tried and tried. And, with several people with the Orff group and the Brockman group that are in Vegas, a lot of our senior bowlers are out there, so there was very limited choices left. And they really don't know each other, and that's always tricky on our doubles. Is trying to going into something with no chemistry.
Right.
And it actually worked out pretty good. I mean,
absolutely.
And Mark, we were kind of throwing it out there too. I thought I saw John's name as looking for a partner as of like a week ago, maybe a little less. You guys are newly
it's
formed team.
Well, he had asked me to bowl, and my issue was my girlfriend Vicky. So I want to thank her for all her support. I better do that, right?
We'll clip it for you so you can play it over and over.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, she actually had made the finals in what's called the family tournament, and without going into great detail, the poor youngster that she bowled with, they allowed him to bowl using an unsanctioned average, and they made it all the way to the state final. And then of course, when they got to state, the gal asked, where did they get the average from? And they found out it was from an unsanctioned league, so they weren't able to bowl. So I was going to go out of town with her,
right?
And we were probably going to have to stay Saturday night, and I wasn't going to be able to bowl. But then early this week, then we found that out. So John was still available, so thankfully we got the bowl.
That's a shame.
I do want to give a shout out to John, because John, John threw the ball great all day. He didn't really have one really bad game, he
290 for Dave.
I just think that kid, I've said this about a lot of kids, but he throws the ball absolutely fantastic, and I certainly hope he keeps it up, because he's been bowling great lately, and sky's the limit for that when you got a release like that.
Well, good news about John. As you know, Rich Weber, in my opinion, and not just mine, but many people's, Rich Weber's probably one of the best bowling coaches in the country, if not the best. Forget certifications, forget all that. And, he watched him throw the ball, he watched his release, he was very impressed with it. And long story short, John's going to start working with Rich Weber.
Oh, wow.
And John does want to improve his game. And John's relatively new to the sport of competitive bowling, but John's got a lot of natural talent. I mean, he does things that he just does naturally with the ball, and he's got a lot of good things about his game, and Rich is going to be able to really enhance that.
That's a little scary for St. Louis bowling right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
To hear that, that's awesome.
That's
great.
Pete Weber's coach.
Yep.
It's great news for John, though. That's an amazing opportunity, and Rich joined us earlier in the broadcast today, and got a lot of insight, and that's great news. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I told him earlier, if they miss Johnny Campos, Hall of Famer, PBA Hall of Famer, and Rich Weber in the booth, they missed a bowling clinic along with Ricky. There was some absolute pure knowledge being poured out of here, and some common sense about the game.
Back when I got the bowl on the tour a little bit, Johnny was like the assistant tournament director, so I remember him real well. Great guy. Johnny was kind of Johnny was always the peacemaker. Harry Golden, not that Harry Golden wasn't liked, but Harry Golden would have to be the bad guy, and Johnny would have to, kind of be the good guy, getting to explain things.